There certainly seems to be masses of converts from Protestantism into Catholicism and Orthodoxy. Has the internet killed Protestantism, or is it slowly killing it now?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know that the internet is killing Protestantism, but I can tell you this. The internet is making it way easier for people to learn the truth about Catholicism, which again puts a spotlight on us. And here's the key. I think that if we in the Catholic space think our job is to use the internet to destroy Protestantism, we're never going to succeed. What that is, to me, that's the result of what will happen if we do our job, which is to show the beauty of Catholicism. So if we come out and we say, here's why being Catholic is amazing. Mm-hmm. Here's the beauty of it. Here's how it will help you become the most amazing saint. Here's how it will make you a better Christian. Here's how it will bring fulfillment to your life and joy and suffering. If we hold up the beauty of Catholicism, then the fruit of that will be people will want to be Catholic. And that's the ultimate destruction, I guess, of Protestantism. It's not like, all right, we have to come out right now and make it our mission to just tear down Protestantism. Because, I mean, think about what Jesus says. You know, if a demon is cast out of a house and it's left clean and tidy, he goes out and then brings back 7 of his friends. It has to be filled with something.
Yes.
And what we need to do is basically say, and I'm not trying to say that Protestantism is demonic just because it's Protestant. What I'm saying, though, is this. We can't just make our life about tearing something down. We've got to make our life about showing the beauty of the other thing, which then people will say, well, why am I eating this when I can have this? You know, why am I eating Taco Bell when I can have, you know, a 5-star chef cook this amazing gourmet meal for me? You know, and I don't mean to offend people with that analogy, but I think what the internet is doing is it's highlighting those things that are true about Catholicism if we do it the right way. Because to me, most of apologetics is simply educating people on what the truth of Catholicism is. It's correcting misinterpretations. It's helping people to see what it actually is. And I know that as a convert myself, if I would have started with, let's go through all the arguments of why I'm wrong, now I'm more focused on my Protestantism, because I'm trying to dig into it to defend it. But if I'm being presented with why this thing is beautiful, good, and true, now my eyes are over here on that going, well, wait a minute, I need to know more about this. Great case in point, a good friend of mine, very anti-Catholic at one point in time. And he got together with me. He told me before, when I first became Catholic, he says, we need to talk about this. You know, and it was not going to be good. I could tell he was very upset with me. Very theologically minded person. And, you know, I kind of knew that was coming one of these days where we were going to have that talk. He sends me a text, says, we need to have the talk. We get together, and he just says, I need to understand you better. I need to understand what you believe better. You know, I don't think that I really truly know why you did what you did. So help me to understand. And I just thought, you know, you need to understand what the church is from the church. So,
what a humble question, by the way, I thought, from your friend.
It was completely humble. And he opened that door. And so what I didn't want to do is go, all right, let me give you the, 9 arguments or whatever, this or whatever that. I just said, let's get you a copy of the catechism. I want you to go through this catechism and just read it. He said, okay. And then here's what he did. He said, I made a chart of he read every paragraph of the catechism. And for the paragraphs that he agreed with, as a 5-point Calvinist Reformed guy, he said every paragraph I gave either basically like a star, an X, or a check mark, right? And the star was, I agree with this. The check mark was, I don't agree with this. And, the X was, I don't agree with this. And the check mark was, I need to find out more information.
Okay.
So he started going through this process, which led him...
He read the whole catechism?
He read the whole catechism. And we went to dinner at his house maybe a month after I gave him that challenge. And we're sitting around talking about the Lord. And he goes, hold on a minute. And he holds up the catechism. And he just goes, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And then he set it down. He goes, okay, never mind. I just needed to tell you that. Wow. And I just thought, this is it. He's going to be Catholic.
Yeah.
And so over the course of many months, he began with that chart. And then what he would do is he would research those areas where he wanted more information.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because we met a few months later, maybe it was a year later, and he sat down with me and he says, I need to show you my chart, and he pulls the chart out and he throws it down and he's got like, it's a notebook and he's got it all sorted by the date. And he's like, here's all the stuff. And then he goes, but then I read this book and I had to talk with this priest. So then, we moved these over to that category and we went through this thing and then this date and this thing. And then we went through this for like 2 or 3 minutes. And then finally he pulls it off the table and he says, and now here's where I am today. And he threw a blank piece of paper down. He says, these are my objections.
Oh.
And, he's becoming Catholic.
Wow. Hallow is the #1 prayer app. Why haven't you got it yet? Download it right now. Go to hallow.com/Matt Fradd.
Here's the thing about that, and I'm probably going to tear up because he's a good friend of mine, and I've seen what he's had to go through for this. And here's the thing: he is so excited, not because he found an argument, but because he found something that's beautiful. And it's not beautiful like, ooh, look, a pretty painting. It's the explanation of our faith, Matt. It's the gospel. It's the deposit of faith that Jesus wanted him and everybody else to have. And there are a number of ways that we can get there. But sometimes what we have to do as whatever we want to call ourselves, apologists, evangelists, or whatever, influencers, which I hate that term, our job needs to be to show that beauty of what the Catholic faith is to people. And that is really how you're going to destroy Protestantism or whatever else. But if we just start off with, let me just tell you why you're wrong. Now that person is instantly put in defensive posture. They have to build up these walls. They have to protect. They have to defend. But when you say, I'm not even going to do that, then amazing things can happen. And one other quick story on this, because it just happened. It's another one of my friends, evangelical guy who was in ministry for years, known him forever. He's on this journey himself to Catholicism, right? We've been talking about it for years, and he's finally at a place where he's open to doing it, but he's still got a lot of questions. He's got a lot of things. So he decides to go on a retreat, a silent retreat. I can't remember if it was a Franciscan thing. I think it was a Franciscan retreat center. He goes to it, and they begin the silent retreat with a meeting with the spiritual director, okay? Mm-hmm. And he goes in there.
Why did he even go to a Catholic retreat center?
I'll tell you why. Because he wanted to learn, okay? He wanted to learn, and he wanted to get some of his questions answered. So he goes to this place with a notebook of like, here are my questions. I want the answers. He sits down with this monk, and the monk says, well, tell me why you're here. And he says, well, I'm learning about Catholicism. I've got some questions for you, and I was hoping that you could help me work through them. And the monk basically goes, we don't do that here. I'm going to teach you how to pray. That's why you're here. Put your notebook away. Put your questions away. Put your agenda away. And I'm going to teach you how to encounter God and Jesus Christ here at this place. And it just completely put him in a state where he could hear from God, not about his arguments, but about his heart. And he encountered God in such a powerful way at that retreat. And now he's becoming Catholic.
Come on.
And him and I never had the whole argument back and forth thing that I was preparing for. When I meet people they want to talk about Catholicism, sometimes, especially when I was first starting out, I would want to have all these arguments ready to go, all of these things, Even when I went on Steve's show, I had a notebook, had all the arguments. I even emailed Trent Horn one time before a thing, and I was like, how do you prepare for it? What do you have?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I got to be ready. And what I've learned is, no, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is show the beauty of the faith and help these people understand what Catholicism is. Most of what Steve and I talked about were dealing with misconceptions that he had about the faith and showing the beauty of it. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but to me, I think that's a better approach than setting out on this digital crusade to destroy something that is so dear to a person, because their faith, that's their faith. And if you come at them too hard with, I'm going to destroy your faith, you Protestant heretic, well, how do you know that you're not going to push them over the edge to atheism? So instead of saying, let me tell you why you're a crappy Christian because you're a Protestant, show them how being a Catholic is going to make you a saint and what that leads you to. And it's the fullness of what you're already doing. It's not the opposite of what you're doing. It's the fullness of it.
Thanks very much for watching that clip. You can click the link below if you want to watch the full interview, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.